everyone, and welcome to Chris's Chaos. I am your host, Chris Cortez, and tonight we are going to review Monday Night Raw live in Columbus, Ohio, April 22nd, 2024. Man, it's a pretty interesting show. A lot of people saying on Twitter this was a little off. Well, This is definitely a Chris's Chaos episode that's a little off because I'm doing my live streams. I was able to hopefully get that intro in. It took a lot of time to get that thumbnail put together, and still have to figure out ways to get my back, like my logos and all my graphics on that I like to put up on my screen. I usually use DaVinci Resolve. I usually play around with Riverside, but you can't just do that when you're live streaming. So. On that note, I enjoyed the Raw for what it was. I have been able to get some time to finally do something that I've been trying to do for the last year, which is to finally start reviewing WWE. Not because it's my favorite, but because it is what we watch the most in the United States, and it is probably what is needed the most to be held under a certain level of scrutiny. So I'm here to finally, put my 2 cents on it, and I'm sure many of us are going to get into some debates and criticisms because a lot of people have a lot of opinions. But this is my passion. So if you want to, check your luck with me and see how far you get with your argument, see, try your best and see what happens. So let's talk. Let's talk shop. Let's talk Monday Night Raw. Man, the crowd, I was hearing different things online. The crowd was kind of dead, and it was a little off, but dead is not the right word. They were definitely not dead. We'll go over some things that I noticed. They definitely popped for Jey Uso, and some key things that, speaking of Jey Uso, Damien Priest was all over this Raw. He's clearly like the head honcho behind the scenes, and he's going to have a lot more exposure next week. But he did have a few cool moments that we'll talk about, and Gable definitely was appreciating that. Zayn has definitely got his hands full, and we have a Women's World Championship Battle Royal that very well may have set up a lot of different programs for the women's division in this brand. I love it. So, I was upset about Rhea Ripley having to vacate that title. I was talking to Jonathan about it on Shoots and Swerves, our last video. You can check it out. But I'm very pleased with what happened with a battle royal that I will tell you, normally I am not cool with battle royals. Okay. And especially for a vacated title. It's only the fourth one that's ever happened in the WWE, I guess, in the last, 17 years? It's pretty wild to think about. I was impressed with the Nakamura Sheamus match for what it was. I enjoyed that one probably the most, but I did enjoy the women's battle royal quite a bit. And we'll talk about why. I was a little upset. Didn't get to see the rise of the Dirty D's. No rise of the Dirty D's because Dom was injured. However, he still managed to get himself involved in that match between J.D. McDonough and Santos Escobar, now who filled in the role of Dom at the match to go up against Ricochet and Andrade Cien Almas, a.k.a. Andrade El Idolo, a.k.a. just Andrade. Good match. I enjoyed it. Again, for what it was. And unlike many other podcasters that are just going to go real nuts, or maybe, at some point, maybe they might sugarcoat things, I'm going to come out and just try to be that guy that is a moderate in terms of criticism, but with a foundation with logic. Okay. For one, it's a Monday Night Raw. Is it going to be this incredible freaking show? More than likely, no. However, it does need to carry on to the next week. And that's what I think it did. If I'm interested in seeing what's going on next week, then it did its job. And keep in mind, unlike decades of lore, of yore, we have PLEs up the butt. All right, we got so many premium live events that those are the events that you really want to critique. For those are the shows that really are the kind of the release, the big payoff, where you get matches and things that occur that are really the story drivers. So if they're not doing it, then by all means critique away, shit all over it. But a Raw like this was actually well organized, had its moments. I knew exactly what I was getting into, checked out what was coming, and they had it lined up. For someone who actually sat there and watched the entire Raw, and I say the entire Raw, it's not something I used to do. I used to, listen to JD from New York and thank him and bless him for having the patience and wherewithal to go through the entire Monday Night Raw and actually have to go through all that, and I appreciate it. I would listen to him because at least he would entertain me, and I would trust what he would tell me is going on. So, and I still do, but I actually feel like this night I was able to get through it all, and I wrote several notes about, easily close to 7 pages worth of notes. So I got a lot to talk about. This is going to be a good one. Yeah, but the point is that it is well organized. And while it may have appeared to be off, I'm going to go over my notes and we're going to talk about it. And there, might be some points where I'm like, okay, this was a little off. There definitely were some things that they've left some questions. Like, for instance, one thing I really liked was when Liv Morgan approached Dominic. Is she should be the female. She could very well play the female role in the Judgment Day. She's got the look. She's got this manic, kind of like, fringe persona going on with her right now, where she's picking fights with everybody that pisses her off and she's going nuts, screaming bloody murder in the backstage, just like, tonight, just like she did with Rhea Ripley. She is a, on the fringe kind of psycho girl that has the look and the moves to be the next like girl in the, the femme fatale in the Judgment Day. That would make a perfect sense and would set up a great, segment program for her and Rhea Ripley when she does return. And Gable, switching gears. He's not so much focused on Zayn as much as he's just focused on himself, and now turning to his lackeys to kind of bring him up, who hopefully down the road will build them up and go against him. And, we'll see something. I honestly, that's the most we've seen Akira Tozawa, involved in something that actually has some substance. He's an incredible wrestler. Okay. We haven't seen him do real work since 205 Live and the Cruiserweight Classic. This is not acceptable. So I'm glad about that. Otis, for the first time, he sounded like a human being and not like just a frickin', animal, with the, oh yeah. I mean, come on now. Which by the way is very entertaining and very funny, but at the same time, it's not, a real person. You're going to give him a little more depth. So I like that. And there, so we'll get into this, but for the most part, this was a good Raw. Was it better than last week's Raw? No. I don't think it was better than last week's Raw, and I don't think it was better than the, the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania, which we talked about. I didn't do any reviews, WWE reviews for last week, gave myself a nice break, but now I'm getting into it. I'm starting to get very consistent I did an AEW Dynasty review yesterday. I'm going to plan on doing an AEW Dynamite review on Wednesday with Jonathan for Shoots and Swerves. And then I will do my very best to make sure I do something planned for Friday, but I do have to leave to go out of town this weekend. So I will believe I'm leaving Saturday. So if I can get something in on Friday, boom, we're done. And then I'll be back. So Monday of next week might not work because I will be out of town, but who knows? Maybe I could put something together with my phone. Whatever I can to make it happen. That being said, this Raw, it had its good moments though, and it's driving. I'm looking forward to King of the Ring now. I'm looking forward to Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, which in most cases I'm not always looking forward to shows in Saudi Arabia, but in this case I'm trying to be optimistic. They were doing plugs for Clash at the Castle, and of course Backlash, which 2 weeks away. We'll be checking out Backlash. So very much looking forward to some stuff. Got plenty to look forward to. So the Raws, the SmackDowns, they're just designed to push, to keep the ball rolling. So let's talk about it. It starts out with Michael Cole talking with Pat McAfee and discussing that last Monday Night Raw. They had to Rhea Ripley, of course, had to vacate the title, but Pat McAfee stated, in the majestic state of Ohio, we're having a battle royal. They cut to a video with a recap of Liv Morgan attacking Rhea Ripley, and Rhea's promo from last week, and essentially how she's coming back for blood. And we hear the "Thank you, mommy" chants, and then they cut back to Michael Cole stating that tragedy presents new opportunity for the rest of the women. We see Liv Morgan, Becky Lynch walking towards, to the backstage, to the locker rooms, greeting fans that are shouting at them from God knows where. And then out comes Jey Uso to start the show, really start the show. And Ohio's going nuts, to his arrival. They're waving their hands in the air. He's the number one contender to the world championship, as stated by the announcers. So they're going nuts for him, and it's packed. So you can't tell me that they were dead. Are they like, a super audience? No, they're not Philly. They're not Chicago. They're not even DC. It's Columbus, Ohio. Okay. So give them credit. Give them some credit for where they are. It was a packed audience. The Backlash PLE is talked about, and how it's of course starting at 1 a.m. since it's going to be held in France. Main event, Jey Uso states he's now in your city. Backlash is in 2 weeks, and we get some Yeet chants. And he points out he needs to prove to the world who he says he is. Main event, Jey Uso. So he has to beat Damien Priest. Before he can finish his statement, the next statement, though, on proving himself, out comes Priest with a microphone. Damien Priest says, "Take it easy, Jey. Whatever you think I'm out for, you're wrong. I'm just here to congratulate you on your presentation last year. You and we went to war." And I believe he's obviously referring to War Games. There was one night that we wrestled. Could have been a dark match. Could have been like a house show where you whipped my ass. Okay. And that was a night where you earned my respect. Okay. And that's why I wanted you into Judgment Day. And he even pointed out that, that night drinks were going to be on him on the Judgment Day. He paid the bill. He said, "I paid the bill because you're on that bloodline good stuff," is what it was at the time. Uso's like, I took an Uber. So it's funny, kind of random, but then states we are next. He's like, I remember you telling me, Damien says, that we are in fact the next guys in line. And you were right, but only half right. I'm next. This championship shows why I am now. You are on the machine. He's essentially, you're next on the machine to be fed to make this look better on me. I really like that statement because we've all been thinking it. Jey Uso is just the first guy to get lined up as for a great match, a nice main event for the world title, but it won't necessarily happen. Now, I totally could be wrong. Jey could just completely shock the world and become the champion now. It's not like it's out of the question. So it's like no shame in it. You get to be the first to show these people that all rise to El Champion. Uso says, Como, take it easy. Come on back in here. Speaking a little Spanish. That's all you see me as, just another tag team guy. Strong talk from the leader of the Judgment Day. But you're the leader only because, Rhea Ripley got hurt. He goes, tell mommy I said, aha. I don't know where that was from, but he was like trying to, I guess, hint at a hitting. It was kind of ridiculous, but it was funny. He goes, hey, champ, you know what that makes me to you now? Dom Mysterio's bitch. So he's referring to Damien Priest as Dominic Mysterio's bitch. If, basically because Dom, in the storylines, mommy is essentially with Dominic. So this is all ridiculous. Wait though, he says to Damien, he cashed in and props to that. But in reality, you're being fed to me because I am next. At Backlash, I'm the next champ. And in Columbus, Ohio, if you're rocking with Jey Uso, then let me hear you say yeet. In comes JD McDonough. Okay? Jey Uso ducks the whatever attack JD was trying to hit him with. And Jey Uso retaliates with a super kick, but does not hit McDonough. Hits Priest instead. Super kick. Says, my bad, then leaves the ring. So I liked it. It was a good promo. I was enjoying it. So we cut to last week's match between Sami and Gable, and how essentially we will hear from Gable, we'll hear from Sami, and then comes Gunther. We hear the DIY music, which means that this tag team title match was next. And when I say in comes Gunther, he's walking down in the backstage area with Imperium, with Vinci and Kaiser. So Pat says this might be the last opportunity ever for DIY to get the tag team titles, which is very much not likely. So come on now. There's a commercial for Burger King, which looked great. May 25th in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. Awesome Truth comes out with titles, which look great on them. Truth on the mic, like the good old days. He's rapping, the crowd's cheering. Same time, they kind of a little perplexed as to what the hell's going on. Even Pat said it was a little offbeat, like as if they weren't familiar with R-Truth's rapping. Now, that is something that I noticed. I was like, okay, they're a little bit off. The crowd, some were into it, some were just kind of sitting back, just like, I don't know, waiting for their next snack, their next beer. Bell rings. Truth and Gargano are in the ring. Chain wrestling, a few too many rolls from Truth, but an arm drag and into a arm bar. Dragged by Gargano, followed by a drop kick. A sweep by Truth. He sweeps the legs and he just kind of grabs the leg, sweeps him. Gargano tries to do the same thing, but Truth jumps up and we get the splits. So, he ducks that. Then we get a whip to the ropes, tag to Miz, double hip toss, and now Miz goes for the figure four, but no go. And a tag to Ciampa, strikes Miz with an uppercut. Chops and some exchanges. Miz gets the figure four, break up by Gargano, who's then sent out of the ring. We get a slingshot by Gargano. Ciampa's knees, at one point you can see, is tweaked. We get a springboard crossbody over the top by Gargano to the Miz. After that, we get a little break. And coming back, we get a suplex by Truth, and Miz lights up Ciampa with awesome kicks. Got me thinking about Daniel Bryan and Will Ospreay. I'll be watching that match again tomorrow night to really get a sense of now that all the the spectacle of the show, just everybody's talking about that match like it was the greatest of all time. It was good. I'm going to watch it again to get a real sense of it. But I'll have my, when we get back with Jonathan, we're going to go over that match. We're going to talk a little more about that match. But yeah, some of his kicks, awesome kicks, whatever hell you want to call it. And his clothesline to the corner, then face plants Gargano. Springboard by Miz, but into the boot of Ciampa near fall. Miz trying to reach out to Truth, eventually does, gets clothesline, shoulder tackles. He hits the 5 moves of Doom, does R-Truth, but gets hit with a super kick by Gargano. And then the pedigree by Ciampa. Looked great. Only a close near fall. Miz outside. Gargano with a suicide dive. Small package by Truth. Scissor kick. Ciampa ducks and connects with the knees. double kick by DIY. Miz drags Truth out, tosses Ciampa over the barricade, roll up by Gargano, only 2 count. Then Truth crushing finale is what it's now called. Finishes off Gargano and DIY. Great match. It was a very good match for a Raw to start this thing off. Very good match. DIY still doing everything they know how to do together. They're so amazing together. Gargano is like he's kind of like a just textbook baby face, always kind of, trying to overcome obstacles. But when Ciampa gets in the ring, though, he's just a brutalist. The guy's like an assassin. And I felt hints of like his old self during this match, his bad self. And then in the end, Awesome Truth remain, of course, they're champions. They hug Gargano, but Ciampa refuses. So are we already seeing the seeds planted for a Ciampa heel turn? I'm always ready for it. Whenever this guy is ready to be a heel, you'll see some of the best heel work you'll ever see. Man, I still think back to the days when he was feuding with Gargano and doing things to Gargano that was just completely brutalizing him. And then pretty much winning the NXT championship to spite Gargano, and then making it, and then finishing the story with a Gargano, defeating Gargano again, and then being like, you know what? Now it's time to move on. And then he became obsessed with the NXT title. So it was a great time for NXT, was when Gargano was champion. Then a close near fall, Miz outside. Oh, sorry. What am I doing? I was looking at my notes for that. Sorry. But backstage, Priest is giving JD some shit for getting kicked in the face. Apparently, Dom got banged up, comes out with the sling. I'm a little upset about that. We're not going to see the complete rise of the Dirty D's. So he asked Santos to team up with JD McDonough. Priest said, handle your business, and while you're at it, stay out of mine. Meanwhile, I'm thinking to myself, well, where the hell's Balor? Finn Balor is probably still in Europe, probably spending time with family and whatnot. That would make a lot of sense. He'll be back next week. So we cut to break. Before the break, though, we see Imperium walking down the hall. They head to the ring soon after the break. Okay, Kaiser hands Gunther the microphone. We get some cheers. There are some cheers out there. Gunther, I swear, he's dressed like he just got back from a long vacation at Martha's Vineyard, okay, with that sweater. He looked well rested. So, but he says, not here to take shots at Sami Zayn and his win at WrestleMania 40. For 666 days, I elevated the title to heights never seen before. In that process, I became the greatest. Very true. My name will be forever embedded in that history of the title. However, that also means for 2 years, I had a target on my back, expectations, pressure, but now it's lifted. And so, Sami Zayn, thank you. I am going from being the hunted to being the hunter. It's a new era. And no matter where I go in the brand, I will embed my name in this era. And I officially put my name into the King of the Ring tournament. I will then go after whatever I want. But nevertheless, you will be targeted and hunted by not only someone who wins titles, but holds on to them more so than anyone else. This is very true. You can't really you can't put him in the same vein as Roman Reigns because he's never even had the chance to hold Reigns' title. So you just can't say that he will or will not hold that title for longer or shorter. He can now hold that distinction that whatever title he does get, he holds it the longest. Look back at the United Kingdom title. While he was the champion, man, that he definitely elevated that title. He was the guy in NXT UK. And he was amazing in NXT UK. And he's been amazing as the Intercontinental title champion. He would be a perfect candidate to win King of the Ring. He's already my choice to be King of the Ring, but there's still some time to discuss that. And then he says he's putting his name in. Speaking of the King of the Ring, he's officially putting his name into the King of the Ring tournament. He'll go on then to do whatever he wants. He'll go after whatever title he wants, but nevertheless, no matter who I go after, you will be targeted, hunted. Like I said. by someone who essentially elevates titles and holds on to them for as long as he wants. Already the general of the ring, the general, soon to be the king of the ring. I like that. Out comes the New Day. The New Day, they're mouthing off about, what better way to usher in this new era than with the New Day. And the current king of the ring is technically, yes, I guess he was the last king of the ring, is Xavier Woods. He's like, you're coming after my king of the ring, which makes you an usurper of my throne. He will become a 2-time king of the ring. He starts just, it was funny. He was calling out Gunther, just usurper. Like he's saying shame to in Game of Thrones. He's quite a character, that Xavier Woods. Gunther calls him a prom king. He will reestablish the king of the ring. Calls him a wannabe champ. New Day creates speaking of wannabe champs, sounds like, you're one to talk, seeing as how you lost your title at WrestleMania 40. Where's your gold, Gunther? Where's your gold at? Chant is created out of nowhere. And Ohio's into it. They're chanting. So again, they're into it. Gunther tells the rest of Imperium, New Day says, we'll handle your cheeks. Basically tells the rest of Imperium to handle this. I like ridiculous. The New Day says, we'll handle your cheeks. Bell rings. We get a nice little match. Headlock by Kaiser on Kofi. Nice drop kick by Kingston. Chops by Kingston. Tag to Woods. Double axe handle off the top to Vinci. Crossbody off the top by Kofi. Vinci gets some space. We get a call out to the Hitman for being the only 2-time king of the ring, and that maybe Xavier Woods might very well become the king of the ring. This is a lot of highlighting. Two men in this match obviously stood out. One obviously being Xavier, because he's the one that's kind of calling out Gunther. The other one is Kaiser. Okay, Ludwig Kaiser. He was definitely showing off while Vinci was kind of taking the hits, which will lead up to our story here between these two guys in Imperium. We get a chin breaker by Kofi to Kaiser, who's then tossed out. Imperium eventually regroups, clotheslines Kofi, then sends Woods off the apron to the floor. We get a break. When we get back, we're told it's been all Imperium. Kofi gets some space, though, with a high-risk maneuver, tags Woods, who hits a series of attacks to Vinci off the ropes. Kaiser knocked off the apron, drop toe hold, kicks Kaiser, then back in the ring with a tornado DDT to Vinci. So Woods is going all over the place. He's looking great. Really, really great, this guy. Imperium looking to do some of the playbook, doing something off the playbook of Legion of Doom. I swear, he looked like they lifted. Vinci was lifting up, I believe it was Kofi, and looked like, like Woods, like Kaiser was going to leap off and clothesline him. But Vinci gets hit by Woods. And then eventually he gets pinned. New Day wins. Gunther picks up and smashes his chair that he was sitting in, by the announce tables. Grills Kaiser, who's standing there by the announce tables, walks out on them. Kaiser's hugging and kissing the head of Vinci. As soon as I saw that, I was like, yeah, no, this isn't, obviously something is not right here. He's like trying to, support his tag team partner, I guess you would say. And slams Vinci into the digital apron screen. And the screen, we get some static. This is looking great. Proceeds to just toss him to all the other parts of the ring, kicks him around, screaming comments of disdain in German. How many years, Kaiser shouts. Looks like we're going to see a match. I'm thinking we'll see a match between these two in the Berlin show that's coming out. I believe it's going to be in October or November. I'll look because I'll be in Europe. So Face and I were checking out matches or shows that WWE shows that will be in Europe. So I'll most likely attempt to make my way to Berlin. Kaiser looks like he's leaving. Then after he's being told by the officials to leave, comes running in full speed, around the ring to where Vinci is, who's laid down on the steel steps. He just hits this running kick right into the shoulder. Looked brutal. And the crowd is chanting holy shit chants. Of course, they're being censored. Kaiser, feeling proud of himself, walks backstage straight to Gunther, who's standing there, and says, see, he says, see, man, I told you I would get it done. And Gunther nods with a grin on his face. Kaiser has always been, to me, this a guy full of potential and talent. And so now I'm seeing that they're going to push him a little more, and we'll get a little feud between the two former tag partners. And I'm liking it. Definitely, this is something else. And the crowd was into it. So, yeah, it was not dead. Not sure where that's coming from, but that's definitely, that was, so there's some proof that there was definitely some energy going on. There's some electricity going on in the air. So, and then we get a SmackDown promo during the commercial break for the contract signing between AJ Styles and Cody Rhodes. Looking forward to that. I am loving AJ Styles right now. I mean, he's on another level of just being a vicious dude. Man, he's on that level. He's on that level right now. He's somewhere else right now. He's doing a lot of great work right now because he's bulked out a little bit. You can just tell he's put on weight, but he still goes as hard as he can. Yeah, looking forward to seeing his work. And they talk about what's next for Tonga. How in a match, I just want to see him. I've always loved this guy's work in the ring. I've seen enough matches with him in New Japan. I'd love to see what he does in WWE. I'd love to see him come out to the Gorillas of Destiny song, if you know what I mean. Because ain't nobody realer than Gorilla. Ain't nobody realer than Gorilla. Song's great. So we get a promo from Andrade. Interesting enough. He says, basically in reference to the Judgment Day. He's like, I'm not somebody's fool. It's kind of like being directed at Dom in the Judgment Day for thinking that he would join them and kind of be like an errand boy for them. How can you pressure someone who is not loyal and did not want to do business? So he's calling them not loyal, not really trying to do business. In fact, they just wanted him as a servant. But no one tells me what to do. I am now their biggest problem. So this tells me that we're going to see Andrade take on Damien Priest, which would be a hell of a match. I'm looking forward to that. And that's really what it's looking like. This is just another guy that can work with Damien Priest. If they plan on keeping that title on him, this would be another great obstacle for Damien Priest. Later on, the night, we're going to see Ricochet and Andrade versus... not the 30 Ds, but Santos and McDonough. We see superstars working in Europe. We see apparently Drew McIntyre was stealing the show in Belfast. We get a plug for Clash at the Castle. Sure enough, I'm thinking in my head, okay, here comes McIntyre. So sure enough, he comes out. He's bitter, angry. Cole says he's whining about everything. His loss, his 5-minute reign at WrestleMania 40. He sits down, cross-legged, CM Punk style, looks at the closest cameraman, says, don't look up my kilt. As usual, I'll tell you, don't look up my kilt, you perv. It's great stuff. So he talks to the crowd. Why do you chant Punk whenever I come out? He hates all of you, he says. The only person he hates more is himself. You ever love, and he talks about wrestling, his love for wrestling. You ever love somebody that doesn't love you back as much? And they're chanting what? So what does he say? He really slowly, this was fantastic. This, I'll say, is one thing why Ohio was maybe a little off. Because he slowly says, say what if you French kiss your cousins? And they say what? And he's like, you're sick. This is great. And then he goes on, the most complex relationships you had was with your own hands. He says, I can sit here and complain all night, but I won't. Even though I didn't get a rematch, even though I was screwed out of the title, even though I was screwed out of my Fatal 4-Way opportunity for, to be the number one contender, which, again, what Punk had interfered with, leaving, and resulting in Jey Uso being the one to face Damien Priest, a guy who could not have beaten me if I would have cashed, without that Money in the Bank cash in. So it's like my back is always against the wall. My next target, though, is the King of the Ring. So he's another one, I no doubt I don't see him winning. In fact, I could see CM Punk, interfering again. That would be great. Because I still, that would kind of cancel him out. I don't think he needs a King of the Ring win. Then comes Sheamus, so who's also going to probably put his name in the hat, put into the tournament. Talks to Drew, says, Drew, what's going on, man? I just don't get it. You're sulking. Just outside of the crowd. All I see is someone not taking responsibility for his mistakes, and some might say that makes you a coward. Are you going to sit there or are you going to stand? I've known you for 20 years. Something, show me some respect, stand up. At WrestleMania 40, you did it. In front of your family, you kissed your wife, you hugged your brother-in-law, you had your whole family with you, and then what did you do? You blew it by heading toward Punk, is essentially what he states. All over a meme and a t-shirt. You threw it all away. Back as over the years, we've had banger matches together. So as I'm here to tell you the hard truth about how a one-arm Punk beat your ass. So Drew says, you knew what Punk did to me, how he tried to jeopardize his career essentially, which is interesting. They're really digging into that real life stuff. I like it. Obviously, everybody loves it who's watching this storyline between these two guys. Punk, that being Punk and Drew. And now that Sheamus is in it, it's working because Sheamus is, in fact, close friends with Drew, was in the same locker room as Punk throughout all those years. Sheamus says it's an obsession, just to let it go. Drew says, before you were injured, it was Drew says, you mentioned it was been banger after banger after banger, but now, as I can see, it's been burger after burger after burger. Funny little pop. And it's his delivery that makes it even funnier. Sheamus says, I can lose the weight, He's like, I'll give you that. But here's the thing, I can lose the weight, but you cannot lose stupid. Again, delivery, perfect. I can say what they say, the people in the back, because I'm your friend. I said, I can't. Well, sorry. So he's essentially, Drew McIntyre is saying, I'm trying to protect you. Have you heard what everybody's saying about you? And Shane's like, I don't really care what everyone's saying. Drew's like, I do care because I am your friend. And I'm not going to fight you. I only fight when it's worthwhile, but this is not worthwhile. However, I'm going to be your friend and watch your back. And the announcers kind of saw that as having a double meaning, and that he may very well attack him at one point sooner or later. Out comes Shinsuke Nakamura, and we hear Michael Cole say that for the first time, this match is going to take place. It's going to be McIntyre versus Sheamus. I was a little annoyed with that just because I'm like, are you kidding me? You're going to say that Sheamus versus McIntyre already? I mean, come on now. Give Nakamura some respect now. So we get back. Cole apologizes for the break. Okay. But before that, we also see Shayna Baszler getting ready, and Ivy Nile getting ready for this women's battle royal match. And then we cut to the match. Sheamus already trying to attack Shinsuke with his forearms along the ropes. Goes to the top, gets kicked down. Running knee, then the boot by Shinsuke Nakamura. Sheamus, though, does catch the boot. The next time strikes. But we get more strikes from the King of Strong Style. That's right. Clotheslines by Sheamus. Cole pushing the story about Sheamus wanting to win this Intercontinental title. And we'll hear it again. And it's, at first I'm like, dude, what is it? What does this have anything to do with what is happening right now? And then, of course, I realized it was their setup to segue into Sami Zayn and Chad Gable. He grabs a hold of Nakamura, does Sheamus, hits the 10 beats along the ropes, lowers the knee pad, catches Nakamura with a kneecap. That looked good. Tosses Shinsuke into the ring, then rolls out, avoids being dropped on the announce table. Kicks Sheamus from the apron, flying knee on the back of Sheamus. Looks sick. And right before the break, too. I mean, man, Nakamura, man, when he gets those feet moving, he can do anything. He's just a serial assassin. After the break, the two are in the center of the ring. So we missed something. But Sheamus is hitting these Irish backbreakers, followed by a top rope flying clothesline. Nakamura fights off the shoulders of Sheamus and the hits, he hits him with a kick, and that sliding German suplex we all know and love, flying knee by Nakamura, headlock back to the neck of Sheamus. Sheamus gets a hold of Nakamura and hits white noise off the middle rope. A very close near fall. I thought that might be it, but I'm glad it wasn't. At the corner, Sheamus takes a breather, but Nakamura hits the knee, goes for Kinshasa, but gets caught. Back to another backbreaker, a bro kick, roll up, missed. A kick by Sheamus near fall. So Celtic cross blocked by kick, but then we get some more and more kicks by Nakamura. But then he runs right into a bro kick, and Sheamus gets the win. That's it. Pat McAfee calls him the incredibly fit Sheamus. So they're going to just be hitting that running joke on Sheamus. Yes, he looks a little bit bloated, but he definitely doesn't look out of shape. He definitely doesn't look like he can't go. Okay. And he will drop that weight. He's doing fine. He's having good. He had a good match with Nakamura. Very good for a Raw. I definitely would give it a B or even a B plus. I enjoyed it. I always enjoy Nakamura and everything he does. The DIY match with Awesome Truth, if you might say that one might have been better, is given him maybe a little bit more time. But for the most part, I enjoyed this one more so far, and this was my my favorite match of the night. But I would give maybe a B or a B plus with the Awesome Truth versus DIY. The Imperium match, Mike, and I guess everything had a story, so everything had a purpose. I was enjoying it. So then we get to Cole bringing up the Intercontinental title again, and then segues to Gable versus Zayn. Vicious ankle lock on the turnbuckles. That recap, I love it because it's kind of a Bret Hart meets Kurt Angle-esque, the way he had this angle lock on, like just kind of wrapping him around the post. We get backstage, we've got Kathy Kelly with Sami Zayn asking about how he's been able to process this. Zayn said he's hurt, he's biting his tongue, he's very emotional. I mean, it's very, gotta love Sami Zayn because he talks to the the announcer, talks to the people kind of like we're watching I don't know, like Law and Order or some shit where like it's just we're not even wrestling it. We're not even at a wrestling arena anymore. Okay. We're at the therapist's office. It's ridiculous. But he's biting his tongue. He's going to hear out whatever Gable says when he comes out, but he cannot imagine how he can defend his actions. And then out comes Bronson Reed telling Zayn, forget about Gable. You have a bigger problem. Beats the hell out of Zayn backstage. Hits him with an avalanche, like some sort of avalanche lariat. I do like that move. In the ring, out comes Gable. And the shoosh. Get a shoosh. Pretty funny. That's one reason I do like that Gable is a heel, because that shoosh just becomes utterly annoying. It's great. And then we get after a break, we get Pat McAfee doing one of his talk shows with none other than NBA legend Charles Barkley, who says, when asked, what did you think of what happened to Sami Zayn? And Barkley's saying, no, you can't beat a man's ass in front of his wife and parents. 3 times at least he said it. Can't beat a man's ass at his house. Cuts to Gable. Gable's looking confused, like, what is this all about? He says, look, after what just happened with Sammy backstage, clearly he's had a tough couple weeks. But what I did was justified. So he recaps their match last week. He's like, a great story. Sami Zayn in Montreal, hometown hero, wins the match. I can even accept that. But it's Zayn that couldn't accept that. So he rubbed it in my face rather than just kind of leaving. He lays down the title, and I accept it. I raise his hand, but then he goes to his wife. He's like, that's where it triggered me. He wanted to have the moment where he beat Gunther at WrestleMania and then went to his daughter. I'm wondering, how far this is going to go. Because they've introduced family members into this, and I'm very curious as to what's going to happen you know, if they're going to bring in the families, which I'm sorry, but anytime that happens, it usually makes for really fun television, you know, real fun pro wrestling. So I'm very curious as to what's going to happen. I want to see more of it, quite frankly. I don't think that Gable's going to be working too much with Zayn, like at this moment. He's going to be more focused on winning matches, having his people, his, you know, Alpha Academy bring him up. And who knows, maybe he might bring his, like some of his family members into the Alpha Academy to be more support. He needs all the support he can get, does Chad Gable. So, yeah. Apparently he says, I've been wasting my time training a bunch of losers. You know, he trained Sami Zayn to beat Gunther when he should have been taking care of himself. All I've been doing is training losers. This is right in the ring with Akira Tozawa, with Maxine Dupree, and with Otis. So looks at Akira, because Akira looked, you know, directly at Gable once he said a bunch of losers. He, you know, talks to Tozawa, asking him if he has a problem, calling him pathetic, looks at Maxine, pretty as a princess, but dumb as a box of rocks, says Gable. I've given you everything and received nothing in return. It's pathetic. And he goes on to say, to look at Otis and say, don't let me get started on you. My prize pupil, my number one guy, you have proved yourself beyond a shadow of a doubt to be the biggest, by far the biggest disappointment of them all. This is why, of course, fans are getting upset. Everybody loves Otis. He goes, but wait a minute, you know, this is why you signed up. This is for honest feedback. So let's get on the same page. You know, he turns it around. Let's focus on me. Let's focus on Gable. You're going to help me no matter what. He asks Otis to say it out loud, no matter what. And sure enough, Otis, like a puppy dog, says, you know, no matter what, with the softest voice, you know, wasn't the, oh yeah, no matter what. Oh man. Gabe walks out of the ring, leaving them behind. They're all like hugging each other, like consoling each other. A lot of emotions in this Monday Night Raw. Maybe that's why I threw people off, because it's definitely, you know, I recently watched the first 4 episodes of Baby Reindeer, and maybe that's we're having a Baby Reindeer Monday Night Raw. I know it sounds terrible, but that's like everybody's like, you know, sulking. Apparently, everybody's like hurting for one reason or another, and is feeling beaten and battered and, you know, disrespected. My God, that show, by the way, is very disturbing. I haven't finished it yet, but my wife said she finished it. It was incredibly disturbing. I was like, I'm not going to be surprised. But yeah, Netflix is like full of disturbing shows. Yeah, and those disturbing shows seem to get the most hits. But anyways, backstage, Dom approaches Ricochet. And Ricochet's like, you know, nobody's more disappointed about you being hurt than me, because I was really looking forward to beating you up. Dom's talking trash while Ricochet's just walking away. He's like, you know, go mocking Ricochet. Like, whatever, Ricochet. Being dirty Dom. You know, love him. Dom turns over to his left, and who's approaching him? None other than Liv Morgan, looking like she's going to ask him for a favor. Okay, Dom looks pissed. I think she's swayed him. Let's make no mistake about it. She's probably convinced him that she will be the next person to join the Judgment Day, and she will be able to provide, you know, her best efforts to bring back the Judgment Day to its glory. There's a stare down between them. I'm seeing Judgment Day, you know, joining. I'm seeing a Liv Morgan joining Judgment Day. There's no doubt about it. So, if I'm wrong, whatever. Top of the third hour, we got Nia Jax. She's moving along, you know. Nia talks about this all-star battle royal, 13 females, 1 monster. I'm going to terrorize each and every one of them, one by one. A lot of repetition this week. A lot of like we can't get it the first time, because that's what she said. I'm going to each and every one of them one by one, until I am the last one and become your world champion. So, lot of repetition throughout this show. Okay. Keep that in mind, WWE. Promo of Twitter called, a promo of the Twitter show, the new WWE Twitter show called Speed. That sounds like a pretty cool idea. It's going to be Ricochet in a singles match against JD McDonough. But then they said it's like the most action you get in 3 minutes. Is that really what it's going to be? Are they going to just show like highlights of a match? Or is like you have to get a pinfall within 3 minutes? That's kind of stupid. But I'm okay if it's highlights. I'm okay if it's like, just a match that we don't get. It's like a dark match that's just cut and clipped to show us the best of the match in 3 minutes. I'm okay with that. But there better not be no stupid 3 minute stipulation as far as the actual match itself. Out comes Andrade, then JD with the music and Dirty Dom at his side. And we get, after Ricochet shows up, and Andrade starts this thing out, takes out JD with a few strikes, sends him out of the ring. Santos comes in. We get a shoulder tackle by Andrade, tag to Ricochet, double team drop kick, standing drop kick to Santos, snapmare and an elbow drop, pin attempt. Ricochet applies abdominal stretch, pin attempt, head scissors, nip ups, kick ups, drop kick, pin attempt. Chance going out to Dom. He sucks. He really doesn't suck. I mean, he's really good at what he does. Head scissors, another nip up, a drop kick, pin attempt. Chance going out to Dom. Pat pointing out Michigan has won 3 straight up here. I don't know where they said something like maybe because Dom's went to Michigan. I'll have to look that up. But I like that. I liked when Pat was saying that Michigan's got 3 wins straight. I am, just so happen to be wearing my Michigan Wolverines hat. It's not uncommon because I wear this hat in addition to my Ungovernables hat quite often. So I was kind of happy to have happened to be wearing it, considering that we are covering a Raw in Ohio. Gotta love it. I love the feud between the Michigan Wolverines and Ohio State. It's great. It's great. And Ohio State, they had some great turnouts in the Big Ten Conference wrestling championship. So, yeah. But yeah, I lost my distraction. I got a little distracted there with college sports. JD holds the ropes, but a right hand by Ricochet. So for the most part, the faces are winning this thing. But then we get a turn of events by Dom distracting Ricochet. Immediately, we get JD McDonough capitalizing with a drop kick, then hits Andrade, then Santos with a Hurricane run off the apron to Ricochet, cut to commercial break. It's looking good. It was a real quick turn of events. Ricochet with a missed enziguri. Back from the break. Double knees by Santos. Suplex by JD, who's tagged in. We get a high tag, a nice little tag, the face tag to Andrade. After Ricochet gains some momentum, some space. Get a nice flying forearm. Another nip up, another kick up. The double knees to Santos Escobar near fall. Dominic looking concerned. He's got that baby face Dominic, barely, mustache still being in the works to grow out. He's doing his best to grow that thing out. Tag to Ricochet, springboard clothesline, then the standing shooting star. JD gets in, but unable to assist, gets taken back out, and Ricochet hits a cross body, but Santos with one of his own. So double cross body, looked sick. Both down. We have a real high tag. This match, is almost done. JD and Andrade come in, exchange attacks. We get a Tres Amigos by Andrade. However, the third amigo was denied by, by JD and Santos, who joins in for a double suplex, catches Ricochet with a drop kick. Both faces just placed on the top rope. JD tossed to the mat. Ricochet. And when I say both faces, I mean both baby faces. They're being lifted up to the top ropes, like JD and Santos were going to like suplex them onto each other. But what happens is we get a suplex by JD. He pulls it off, with Andrade, but Santos somehow messes it up. No. Here's what happened. Andrade, he reverses whatever the hell JD was trying to do. And Santos, essentially Hurricane Rana's Ricochet, who turns that somehow into a leg drop and then just drops right onto the head of... I'm always so confused about this because it's supposed to be the Dirty D's. Right onto JD McDonough. Santos's Hurricane Rana looked a little botched too. It did not look good. Andrade, Ricochet flips the Hurricane to a leg drop, and Andrade hits the back elbow to Santos and the shadow to JD for the victory. Looks sick. Andrade looked real good in this. Everyone looked incredible. They really do. JD looked good. Santos looked really good. He just kind of botched a little bit. Then he was just kind of nasty with the Hurricane. It didn't look like anybody. Like, it didn't look that bad. It just looked a little slippery, a little loose. And but man, Andrade is always looking good. Ricochet's, I mean, you don't even have to say anything. I'll always love Ricochet as Prince Puma, but you can't deny the guy is just makes it look so easy, But out of nowhere, after the victory, Damien Priest just comes out of nowhere, whips the crap out of Andrade to the post, hits Razor's Edge on Ricochet, then goes back to Andrade, hits South of Heaven to Andrade, just like decimates both of them. Walks over to Dom, and he talks to him in Spanish. Tells JD, you want to hear this? You want to know what it is I'm saying? I don't need you guys. You need me. Clear enough. He's kind of right. At this point, I really love the way he said that. He basically just like told everybody that, I am basically essentially the tribal chief of Monday Night Raw. And that's just a way to look at it. Like, kind of like right now, Solo's kind of like Deboing until, of course, the real high, the final boss comes in. I'm liking that. After the break, we get a promo of Zoe Stark and all the work that she's done over the year. And it shows how she's come very close to winning the big one. She had a great match with Rhea Ripley at the Survivor Series. Almost had Money in the Bank. Great year, she said. But here's the thing. The scariest part of it all is that I'm just getting started. Got to Jackie Redmond. She's with Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae. Redmond states, apparently, guys, you ladies have been using some tactics that are questionable. Candice LeRae and Hartwell are just like, well, a little offended. They're like, we've done everything we need to do. We've had wins. But then we get before they could really talk, we cut to a scene next, nearby where it's Nia Jax and Liv Morgan just screaming at each other. Not even fighting. They're just like having a shouting match with officials trying to keep them, away from each other so they can just get in the battle royal and fight there. I wasn't really interested in that. Then here comes Becky. Can't even hear what she's saying, so she grabs the mic on her way towards the ring and says it's chaos. It's about to get more chaos. I'm loving that. Yes, of course I enjoyed that. When you're ready, Rhea Ripley, I'll be here. She really was my favorite to win this thing next to Liv Morgan. Nia Jax was a good one. Of course, I want Shayna Baszler to win. She's always been my favorite for many years. And of course, Asuka. It's just it makes sense. So I was very happy with Becky Lynch and what she did. All the work that she did. We're going to talk about that. But I did totally think it was the right thing for Becky to drop the match to Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania 40. I wouldn't have been pissed. I wouldn't have been that pissed at Becky. They built her up. This woman is like the people's champion. It just so happened that Rhea Ripley had a hell of a run. And it's very interesting that it would have made more sense for Bayley to go after Rhea Ripley, seeing as how she won the Royal Rumble and she should have been going after the one who, one, is not her friend, but two, is the one that pretty much had the longest reign. So the big women's title right now is Rhea Ripley's title at that time. Meanwhile, Becky, that would have left an opening for Becky to maybe go after. I'm losing a little bit. I'm so tired. I can't remember what like all the different Io Sky. Jeez, man, I'm tired. It's late, 1:47, but I mean, I would have loved to have seen Bayley versus Becky Lynch, maybe for the title, and something like a Rhea Ripley versus a Bianca Belair. That would have made sense. But it really did work out in the end. It worked out really well. So I wasn't surprised when Becky was going to win. It was kind of, so it's basically, okay, we were going to give, they were probably in discussion. They probably were in discussion of what to do if Becky, should Becky Lynch win the title at WrestleMania? And since Ripley got injured, they're probably like, okay, we're going to go ahead and just do what we were going to do if she won anyways. So it's no big deal. It made a lot of sense for her to win. So let's talk about this Rumble, okay? This is not this Rumble. I like to say Rumble, but it's a battle royale. But before that, they do cut to next week's matches. One of the big things is that Ricochet, Andrade, Jey Uso are going to take on JD McDonough, Damien Priest, Finn Balor, since Dirty Dom is injured, but Balor will be back. Judgment Day is going to get a win right here. Okay, they're gonna make up their loss next week against Jey Uso, Andrade, and Ricochet. That's my prediction. Morgan comes out. Then we get Kayden Kross, Katana Chance, followed by Nia Jax. Baszler's in the ring talking to Zoe Stark. Tony Stark. To Zoe Stark. So hinting that they're probably going to work together in this Rumble, and sure enough, they did. This Battle Royale. And for the fourth time, Cole points out, the traditional Battle Royal determines the champ. First is Gail Kim, apparently then followed by Kurt Angle won a title in a Battle Royal, and even the Great Khali. I do like it when they do stuff. They mention stuff like that. They never would have done that a few years ago. Nia Jax and Piper Niven somehow just clear the ring, and I'm already kind of like turned off by this Battle Royal, but my mind will, my opinion will be changed by the end of this match. We see a nice German suplex by Natalya, who tries to then eliminate Becky Lynch. Candice LeRae is eliminated quickly by Maxine Dupree. So she's showing who she is. This is going to play on, in the Alpha Academy storyline program. Maxine then eliminates Indy Hartwell. We get cut to a break. Stark eliminates Chance and Carter with the help of Baszler. Jax swings Ivy Nile into the post over the top rope to eliminate her. That's brutal. Nia Jax was brutal in this Battle Royal. You got to give her credit for that. She really is brutal. These last several months, she's been doing really good. Her best work. Okay, Maxine trying to square up to Jax and almost does so with a nice insecurity, but she gets caught, sent over the rope by Nia Jax. She then squashes Natalya as Baszler just kind of avoids that. And then Baszler's on top of Jax. It's not focused, but that's what we're seeing. Meanwhile, Becky Lynch eliminates Piper Niven, who then decides to drag Becky from under the ropes, the bottom rope, sets her up on the announce table. There's going to be another match between Becky and Piper after what we just saw. She hits a cannonball to Becky Lynch against steel steps. She then clears the announce table, sets up Becky, lays her out. She headbutts her, chops her. Then Jax, meanwhile, is trying to eliminate Chelsea Green. But Niven grabs her by the leg, pulls her under the bottom rope. Jax then is like, you're going to pull me. Jax choke slams Piper Niven right onto Becky. And then she picks her up and Samoan drops her onto Becky. This is crazy. Chelsea Green, meanwhile, is eliminated by Natalya, but the officials are too busy dealing with the two, titans, like the two female titans outside by the announce table, who are essentially just and Becky Lynch is just caught between a rock and a hard place. So Green sneaks her way back in, via Stone Cold Steve Austin, circa 1996. 97. Okay. Cut to the break as Pat shouts, "What the hell is going on?" Pretty funny. I know this is definitely, coming to an end, but there's still a lot of action going on as we go to I hope the last break. We see a power bomb by Jax to Lynch, just sends her right through the announce table. Finally breaks the damn thing. Chelsea Green and Natalya are fighting on the apron. Stark catches Green, and Baszler takes out Natalya. Spinning kick by Starks to Morgan. A kick by Baszler. Then double teaming on Jax, who catches Stark and basically eliminates her. Then takes Baszler out. Really nothing they could do. Nia Jax is in Godzilla mode. Last three are Liv Morgan, Nia Jax, Becky Lynch. Makes a lot of sense. Now Becky's back in the ring. Liv with a Huracan, neckbreaker by Lynch. All three are on the mat. Columbus is appreciating the efforts. They're definitely cheering on these women. Becky attempts to eliminate Morgan and gets caught by Nia Jax. Samoan drop, then 1-2 Morgan. Strikes by Morgan and Lynch. Double team effort by Lynch and Liv Morgan. A double suplex attempt. No way. Reversed by Nia, who lifts both ladies up with ease. It looked good. It just looked like these two ladies, these small petite little women, there's no way going to lift this 9th or 10th or 11th wonder of the world in Nia Jax. Jax for a double annihilator. She's going to splash onto these two women, but is taken out on the top, gets hit with a code breaker, a leg drop, down to Morgan, and she eventually gets eliminated while she was on the top rope. Probably not the best idea to go on the top rope, Nia. Down to Liv Morgan and Becky Lynch. I'm waiting for Dom to just show up and distract Lynch, okay? But they're striking each other. They quickly end up on the apron over the rope and onto the apron. They're fighting on the apron. Several exchanges and elimination attempts. Eventually, there's a code breaker to Becky. A manhandle slam, though, eventually ends it, and Becky Lynch is your world champion. At some point, I was like, okay, one of these women are going to get eliminated quick because they just stayed on that apron and usually calls for an end. It was a good end. It was a good battle royal. For what it was, I was very impressed. And possibly it sets up stories. If they really want to, analyze this thing, they've managed to set up multiple options for storylines that can all go back to this one battle royal, where all kinds of things happen. You got, Piper Niven was going after Becky. Everybody was going after Nia. There was a little feud between Natalya and Chelsea Green. You got Maxine Dupree trying to show her worth, and now Gable's probably going to be like, you see what you did there is you stepped to Nia Jax when you shouldn't have. Yeah, you had a couple good eliminations, but you still lost. You see what I mean? But maybe you can prove yourself by going up against Nia Jax in one-on-one match. Something like that. Baszler, Stark, they're going to, maybe they're going to go back to being a tag team and working together. Maybe they're going to feud with each other. I like Ivy Nile. I'd like to see what she can do now. But this is a women's division, 14 women that are all stars, in their own right. And then you got a good tag team. Definitely they're going to go after the Kabuki Warriors in Chance and Carter. That's a great tag team. So give me more tag teams. I want to see Liv in Judgment Day. That's really the last thing for her to do. because she's got the gimmick. I'm sorry, she's got the look, the moves. Obviously, she's got the love of the crowd, of the audiences love Liv Morgan, and I feel like she's got all the right tools. She just needs a little direction, a little purpose to move forward. What is her ambition? What is her motivations? What is her story, in order to be elevated to the next step? And that, I tell you, is the Judgment Day. Is she will become like this revenge seeking femme fatale. She kind of reminds me, and it's not just because of the blonde hair. It's not because she's petite, like she's shorter and like kind of like has the gymnast physique, but she does, remind me of Alexa Bliss. I've always loved Alexa Bliss, but Bliss was very clear in her intentions with her facial expressions and the way she kind of carried herself. I'm waiting to see more of that from Morgan. Morgan's like shown a lot of face tendencies. I don't think she's a face. I think she could be a great heel. I think that's where she's going. So I look forward to it. I think that's what's going to happen. But whatever. We'll see. But I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I was impressed. And so Becky goes out to the crowd. She's celebrating with the crowd, cheering, hugging girls, little girls that probably want to end up being just like her. She really does know how to do that. One of the last Raws I went to ended with Becky, and Becky, when the cameras went off, Becky was still like shaking hands with everybody for a good like solid 10, 15 minutes. She really knows how to, show her appreciation to her audiences. That's why everybody loves this woman. She really is like the people's champ in the women's divisions. So, yeah. And that was your Monday Night Raw review. It's been great. Looking forward to next week. Going to try to get it. I'm going to get an AEW Dynamite. Going to get, hopefully, if all works out, should be able to get in SmackDown, a nice little SmackDown review before I head down south. No, I'm going up north. My bad. I'm going to Michigan, then I'm going to Florida at one point. So, yeah, should be fun. But y'all have a wonderful night. I did not even say it, but make sure to click that like and subscribe button, okay? And you have a wonderful day, and I will catch you all next time, Wednesday. Take care. Have a good one. Bye.